Fight Saga Radio with editor Lee Cleveland.
Guys, welcome. Happy Saturday to all of you. And guys, what a treat we just witnessed. What a spectacle. And to talk all about it, I've got the editor-in-chief, the incomparable Lee Cleveland of FightSaga.com. How you doing, my friend?
Yes, sir. Glad to be here, man.
I tell you what, oh boy. Talk about the Big Bang heard around the world. Holy cow.
Absolutely. Yeah. I was even a little surprised. I mean, I'm surprised, but not surprised. But
well, look, man, we just saw that fight together. And once again, we were on the phone watching it together, and we just had to go live and share our excitement and enthusiasm because, look, I was like just talking like I was calling a fight, and then all of a sudden, yeah, my voice is a little sore now, my throat, because I was screaming. I was standing up. That was absolutely sensational. Tell us how we set that up. And once again, we talked about this being a possibility. But what did you think was going to happen? And, well, how did he set that up in the third round? Wow.
well, I mean, for starters, we had talked early, and we'd seen him start quickly against Hrgovic and against Joyce in the first fight. I wasn't so surprised he started quickly. I mean, the first round was a downer. We talked about that. Mm-hmm. Second round, he started teeing off, right?
Yep.
Thinking, okay. He's starting quickly. He's starting quickly again, but we've seen this before. He floored Hrgovic. So I'm thinking, okay, well, here we go again. He's going to start quickly. What does he have left in the later rounds? But we never found out because it didn't get that far. I like the looping left. I like it looped. I like it straight to the body. The looping shots to the head. I thought that he did a great job. I think this was a matter of, he had the angles on him. He had the rhythm to Joyce, but the most of all was speed. He's a little quicker than Joyce, who, as you said, was.
Oh, wait a minute, dude! You just say a little quicker than Joyce? I think you're being nice, brother. Holy shnikes!
Yeah, I mean, so you look at these guys like Zhilei Zhang and Ruiz, and you think, the conventional wisdom on the street is, oh, these fat guys are slow, but that's just BS. I mean,
no, dude. I will say this:
guys don't judge their speed on their body, and this guy's got some serious hand speed, Joyce, and Zhilei Zhang.
Thank you.
And we saw him, and we saw him go inside. He maneuvered. I mean, there wasn't a lot of the fight to see. I know the first round was a feeling out process. It looked like he wanted to be a counter puncher. Tonight.
No boy.
Let Joyce, throw his load, and then bing, bing, bing. Use that speed to come back. Come back off those punches. So what he was doing, just as soon as Joyce would tee off, he'd come back, boom, boom. That's where he shook Joyce a lot. Because Joyce is so slow. His hands are so slow coming back to his guard after he throws a shot. And so once he was able to find that rhythm where he could pick them apart, he was waiting for Joyce to unload. Then he got inside, boom, boom.
It was beautiful. Hey, man, how did you like that left hand to the body as early as round one? And that's what set up the coup de grace. Yeah. Another straight left hand to the body, and then right hook up the stairs. Good night, Irene. Yeah, that was gorgeous, beautifully set up. Now, dare I say, Corey Sanders, the late great Corey Sanders, the sniper, is alive and well, and his name is the Big Bang. Zhilei Zhang. Lee, very important question. Is this the best heavyweight in the world?
Maybe. We'll have to see. I mean, I think he can certainly make a case for getting a title shot after these performances. Absolutely. I mean, he's got the size, he's got the speed, he's got some punch. He can take a punch, and he's got the technique from that long amateur pedigree in the Olympics and all that. So we know he's got the pedigree. So that this guy is just not a pure brawler looking to knock guys out, doing things fundamentally wrong. This guy's got a lot of technique, a lot of strategy. He's got, he can pile up the points too. So I would love to see him against Fury.
Oh boy, and that leads us in to our first fact or fiction. Here we go, brother.
We ain't ducking and dodging nobody. It's time for fact or fiction.
Hello?
Yeah, well, I'm sorry. It's my mic was a little slow in.
Oh, I didn't hear anything. All I heard was here's fact or fiction.
Okay, very good. Well, I tell you what, brother, that leads us, and thank you, Floyd, once again for introducing that segment. Lee Cleveland, here it comes. My computer's a little slow. My apologies. Watching too many things on my computer today. Okay, here it is. Number one, fact or fiction. Tyson Fury will defend his WBC title against Zhilei Zhang in December. Fact or fiction?
Both fact and fiction. I think he'll eventually, because Zhang's popularity, because he's got China behind him, because he got all those pay-per-view buys. They up that price. They get all those million buys. You're looking at a lot of money. I think he defends, but not in December. Not in December at all. But I think he fights. I do think he fights him. Yes. I think that Fury's incentive to fight him is A, money. And B, he's like, he's 40 years old. He's got nothing in the gas tank after 3 rounds. I can beat this guy. All I gotta do is last the first 3 or 4 rounds. I can use my height, my movement, I got speed myself. I can pile up the points and possibly get a late stoppage. That's what I think Fury's going to be thinking. And I can get paid for it, and I can get a lot of money for it. So yeah, it's gonna, but not now, yeah. Definitely
so once again, guys, there's a reason why Zhilei Zhang called out Tyson Fury and asked the British crowd, they're in shock, right? Ask him, do you want me to shut up Tyson Fury?
Yeah. And remember, he said,
I loved it.
He said, I got Chinese power. I got Chinese. Yep. That was a nod to a lot of his fans, I think.
Yep. He said
Chinese. This guy could be a big guy, a big draw.
With performances like that, if he keeps racking those up, he will be one of the biggest stars of the world. That was incredible. And you know what? That's exactly the shot in the arm the heavyweight division needed, brother. But here, look. Now, once again, guys, this is a fight. And the reason why we're saying this on Fact or Fiction, they wanted to make this fight back in April when Usyk walked away from negotiations. And guess what happened? Joyce, now this is according to Terry Lane, manager of and son of Mills Lane, manager of Zhilei Zhang, the Big Bang. He said, Joyce, it was crazy. And Frank Warren, well, he was disappointed. He said, look, he was offered over $1 million to step aside to allow Tyson Fury to fight Zhilei Zhang. Bad decision, wasn't it, Lee?
Yeah, and you sort of you had a problem with it when it was announced. You're like, I don't know about that. You're like, well, wait a minute, so yeah, and this is why. I mean, it was a bad decision, but then again, you look back. I mean, it's easy to play Monday morning quarterback. The first fight I think was stopped a little early. He was coming on Joyce after some tough early rounds. He was coming on. Who knows what would have happened? So there may have been a reason to take it. I don't know. I mean, it's a tough call, but well,
no. It's not a tough call, Lee. And with all due respect, my friend, if you're a prize fighter and you were a prize fighter, would you turn down $1 million that you don't have to split with your promoter? Don't have to split with your trainer. You don't have to split with any sanctioning organization. You do this you get $1 million without taking a punch to the face. How do you turn that down if you're a 38-year-old lumbering Joyce?
Well, here's the thing. First of all, I wasn't on that level, or even pro. But here's the thing. You're looking at this, Joseph. You might be saying, okay, in order for me to move up, I need to get this blemish off my record, right? And because this is going to haunt me for the next 2 years. Let me fight this guy, get this blemish off my record, kind of like what we saw with Povetkin and Dillian White. He came right back. Let me get this blemish off my record. Kind of what we saw with Tony Thompson, although it didn't work so well with gosh, I can't think of his name. The British guy that Thompson lost.
David Price.
David Price. Twice.
Well, yeah, and you know what you said.
But you want to get that blemish off your record so you can move up.
Well, you know what though, brother. Now, in the immortal words of Emmanuel Stewart, well, he didn't get it off his record. Now he looks like he might have to deal with this for the rest of his life.
Yeah, he didn't get that blemish off. I mean, avenging that loss, right? Because he could easily say, you could easily say, hey, I've beaten everyone I faced. Had he won this fight,
you know what? Emmanuel Stewart
is I've beaten everyone I faced. Right?
Yeah, Emmanuel Stewart, he always thought that was important. And he always wanted that for all of his fighters whenever they suffered a tough loss and a high profile loss, right? He said immediately get that back. And if it's not immediate, you still have to get that back. Right?
So that was maybe his motivation. And $1 million isn't that. I mean, you're talking about big heavyweight money, $20-30 million in fights. $1 million is not that much money.
Wait, whoa. What? Now you're starting to sound like Frank Martin.
I mean, but at this level, when you got guys making 30 million, 20 million, I mean.
Well, look, those days, unless you're a huge ticket seller in a pay-per-view draw, those days are long gone, my friend. You are looking at now, and we're going to get into that a little bit later. We're coming into the era 2024. Here come the days of feast or famine, my friend. And well, we're going to talk about, and well, you've done a lot of research on the piracy issue. We're going to talk all about that, guys. First, let's say hello to our dear friends in the chat. My brother Jesus M. Welcome to Zoser. Saludos. Joyce needs to retire. Lee, what say you, brother? I don't know. I think that may be a little hasty, but who knows, man?
He's a young 38. I mean, in boxing years, he's probably like 30. He's lost to one guy. I wouldn't throw him out there yet. I think there's still a lot of money to be made. He's a big guy, strong puncher. He's for the most part, he's pretty durable for the most part still. I would put him, I'd have him fight, give him like 2 tune-ups, get some moderate, some moderate competition, and then I'd throw him in again, with another, but I wouldn't bring him back against anybody big right now, but I'd give him, maybe like the guy that Helenius has fought previously, someone like that, maybe a little bit better than that. Have him fight 2 of those guys, and then maybe bring him back a little bit to like a Chaz Witherspoon or somebody like that.
Ching Gao, dude.
I don't know, but
so he'll be 40 by the time he fights someone with a pulse. No, thank you, Cleveland. No, thank you, brother. We'll see. Look, we'll see if you said, well, he's pretty durable, customarily. Well, we'll see after this, because sometimes, well, when you like to block punches with your face, in one fell swoop, your chin can turn to glass and your durability can evaporate. We've seen it before. We'll see what happens. We'll have to see what happens.
And part of this, Joseph, I want to interject too. Part of this depends on Daniel Dubois, I think, also, because now if Dubois gets another shot, we talked about him getting another shot immediately because of that controversy. Now, if Dubois happens to win, he's going to want to get rid of that blemish, like what you see with Emmanuel Stewart.
Yeah.
So then Dubois wins, and then he's gonna fight the guy that beat him.
Well, now you're getting too hypothetical. Now we're talking about a battle within Britain, a civil war, right? You're talking about Dubois versus Joyce. What do you label that fight? Damaged goods?
Well, hey, I'm saying, hey, if Dubois, hypothetically, Dubois gets it. We had said we don't know if they've made a ruling yet. I don't know if they have, but given the controversy of the Usyk fight with the non-low blow, whatever you want to call it, they may rule that a win for Usyk, but say that Dubois can get the next title shot or something to that effect.
Look, I don't want to talk.
If Dubois wins, he's going to come right at Joyce.
I don't want to talk about that. That's a non-issue, and that's a non-ticket selling bout, and one that I'm not interested in. And I know you're talking about what lies ahead for Joe Joyce, but once again, it's going to be tough sledding coming back. But let's stay on the hot fight: Tyson Fury versus Zhilei Zhang. Hold on, brother. Jesus M also says Zhang versus Philippe or Bacoli. Hell no. Hell no, brother.
This
Zhang's
is who?
rock star.
Hergovich?
Exactly. Philip Hergovich.
We saw that
Or
already.
Lawrence Bacoli. Yeah, we did see it already, and Philip won, and everyone thought that he lost. I think it's an intriguing
I don't know
fight.
about that, but
No, I would like to revisit that. I scored it for Philip because that's how fights are scored. Even though Zhang landed the most effective and consequential offense. But, he just didn't put it together and didn't, slow down and later on the fight. And
he faded badly in the later rounds. Yeah.
Terribly. I will say this about Philip Hergovich. That's a victory that keeps on looking better and better with each Zhang performance. And Tycho TV visits us and he says, Zhang got it done. How do you like that tweet?
Yeah, sure did.
Thank you for hanging with us, Tycho. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, Zhang versus Fury. I think that, again, it's a good fight. I think, obviously, Fury is still the favorite. But that's, you don't know. Because
you don't.
I think a good point was made. A very good point was made by Tim Bradley when he was like, and I told you, we've never really seen, outside of Vlad, who was 40, we've never seen him against a good technician.
Which is 40 also. Which is 40 also.
But then he's a different 40. This is a different. Vlad was on the tail end of his career, and this guy's in his prime, right?
Well, I understand what you're saying because he doesn't have nearly as many miles on the odometer as Vlad had at that time. You're right. You're right about that. Okay, so let's move on. Want to give a big shout out to my brother Dex 1K. Thank you for joining us, my friend. And he says, Joyce is a disappointment. You know what? For a lot of British fight fans, boy, he sure is. But, hey, man, don't give up on your man. Don't give up on your guy. You know what? Losing to a fighter like Zhilei Zhang, Lee, is there any shame in losing to that, skilled, hard-punching badass?
Yeah, the biggest shame is Zhilei Zhang. Where the hell has he been? If he's 40, that's the biggest shame. This guy should have been doing this in 2016, 2017, 2018.
Yeah. Well, I will say this, Lee. I will say this, brother. If I had to guess how Tyson Fury, Zhilei Zhang played out, guys, look no further than Staples Center, Lennox Lewis. Or no, I'm not saying Lennox or Staples Center, Corey Sanders versus Vitaly Klitschko. I think it looks a lot like that.
Yeah.
Where you see Zhilei Zhang, stagger Tyson Fury, maybe even floor him, and, hurt him early. And then he just gets his eyes adjusted to the movement, the rhythm, the speed. And then he uses his feet as a foundation of his defense, moving in and out of range. And when Zhilei Zhang starts running out of gas, he tattoos him until the ref steps in and stops it. In my opinion, it looks a lot like that. But I tell you what, fireworks, brother, in that fight. I predict fireworks. I love it. I almost want to say with my Max Kellerman voice, fireworks, Emmanuel. So anyway, thank you for joining us, Andre. Appreciate it, brother. Good evening to you, my friend. Thank you for hanging with us. And boy, what'd you think of that fight? He says this. Yes, right hook from Hades. Did you know that's a Richard Lewis quote? He's the one who made up, from what I understand and from what he claims, the blank from hell. Did you know that? Richard Lewis, comedian.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, most people don't. And my brother Juice, thank you for joining us, sir. It's good to see you on the chat. He says, Zhang, he hit Joyce upside the head with a ship anchor. Yeah, you could say that. Woo! Outlaw, welcome to the show, sir. It's good to see you, my friend. Cash it in, Big Bang, minus 129, easy money. Oof, boy, the way that looked. Boy, the handicappers got it way wrong. Anyway, Outlaw, welcome to the show, my friends. Good to see you on here, my brother. James, welcome to the show, sir. Oh, poor Juggy. Oh, geez, I'm having way too much. I'm so elated because, like I said, I love boxing, as everyone knows, and I love the heavyweight division. And 2023 has been a terribly disappointing year, Lee. for the heavyweight division, right? And this, in my opinion, was the performance that we all needed to get people talking about the big men once again. Now, if Tyson Fury cannot be made in the interim, well, would you mind seeing in Beijing? Would you mind seeing the big bang Zhilei Zhang versus Deontay Wilder?
Yeah, I would love that. I mean, wow, that would be. I don't know if I could survive that. I might have like a heart attack or something. That would be. Seems like seemingly a knockout waiting to happen, but who knows? I like that fight a lot. I still think. I just haven't seen enough of Zhang, but I still think Wilder gives him problems with his own speed,
athleticism,
and his hard shot, and his reach advantage. But I think that Zhang gives Wilder problems with his great technique.
Yeah. Yep. That's why I mentioned, dude. That's a great fight. These are great fights. Come on, guys, quit pricing yourselves out. Come on.
I think at this point, with this guy being 40, with his popularity the way it is, you go right for the big cookies with Fury, or Fury or Usyk, either one. But you go right. I'd go right to Fury.
Yep. It's hard to argue with that, brother. Hard to argue with that. And once again, guys, we're here with the editor-in-chief of TheFightSaga.com, Lee Cleveland. And welcome to the show, Sid UK. He says, Zhang versus Fury should be next. Zhang deserves the payday, and it'll give Usyk a chance to soften up more so that the Gypsy King can tear him apart after beating Zhang. Well, let's just hope that Tyson Fury stays in the sport, right? Because let's be real, guys. He's got a lot of big money-making opportunities, and only one of them includes boxing. Okay? That's huge, guys. I cannot stress that enough. In my opinion, I think he only has maybe one or two more fights left. No, I'm not referring to Ngannou. That's not a fight. Guys, and let's take a look at Tycho TV. He says, Fury ain't fighting anyone dangerous. Moving forward, only celebrity fights. No, he will fight anyone with money. Look, guys, Lee, you've got the fighter's mentality. Talk about how competitive these guys are, even in sparring. Like, even at the club level, these guys are fighters, they're competitors, and it's very hard for them to stay out of the sport, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's like a territorial thing. You always want to prove yourself. You want to prove that you're the best. You're not scared of anybody. So really, it's the handlers, it's the managers, and the trainers who are like, well, hey, my guy is not quite ready for this guy yet. Or sometimes it's the promoter who says, well, it's a big fight, but there are other big fights that we should go for, or this fight hasn't marinated yet, right? So we should just put this on the back burner for a while. So sometimes, between the managers and the promoter, I think most fighters are usually ready to go, but it's the managers and the promoters that really dictate.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. That is the God's honest truth. And once again, guys, all of these fighters, they're gallant warriors, and they would step in the ring with Godzilla if it meant making life-changing money. The problem is most of them don't know exactly what they're worth. They don't understand the concept of market value in the entertainment industry. And we're seeing a lot of that right now. Shingao, Frank Martin, how can he justify turning down a title opportunity with Shakur Stevenson and turns down $1 million? Okay. Yeah, we'd like to thank Pablo. Welcome to the show, sir. He says, hold on. It's not. Oh, here it is. Zhang gave Joyce that bald bull charge. How? Dude, listen to that. Mike Tyson's Punch-Out reference.
Nice.
I love it. I love Punch-Out. That's one of my favorite games of all time, brother. Welcome to the show, my friend. And our good friend from New York, the incomparable Big Luke. Welcome to the show, sir. Joseph Heron and Lee Cleveland. Bang everything. Bing. Hey, we're going to talk about Teddy Atlas a little bit later, aren't we? Well, we better get through this then, brother. I tell you what. Hold on. He says, Jojo, you need to close all those Pornhub sites. Maybe that would speed up your computer. Woo! I tell you what, brother. Unlike you, I don't need Pornhub because I've got a date with a beautiful girl later on tonight. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And yes, sir, I am packing a couple of those big blue bombs made by Pfizer. No shame in my game, my friend. Anyway, welcome, Hard Times. Thank you for joining us, sir. He says, I did not see Zhang doing that to Joe, and so early. Damn. Well, you talked about that would be a possibility, right?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I said the first 3 rounds, he's dangerous. After that, from what I've seen, he turns into a different fighter. But the first 3 rounds, he's always been dangerous. I think I want to comment on something. I think the biggest thing that we haven't mentioned about Zhang, what separates him and what gives him maybe more juice, whether it's fair or unfair, than other fighters is he's Chinese, and we have very few Chinese boxers, probably hardly any Chinese heavyweights that have at the top level in boxing history. And you've got a huge market that you're tapping into.
Yep.
So that's the exciting thing. We have new blood, but we've got a huge, massive market. Are we going to be able? Is boxing going to tap that market? Are we going to be able to tap into that market?
Well, let me ask you something, Lee, with the news that's coming up, and we're going to talk about in Fact or Fiction. It's already 30 minutes in, so we have to move on. We've got a lot to cover. Could TikTok pay-per-view be the future of boxing, brother? Because they anticipated, they anticipated. Now I'm going to get the numbers from the Lane brothers later on, but they anticipate 30 million pay-per-view purchases on TikTok from China. 30 million.
Now remember, preface that with the price, Joseph.
Yeah, it's under $4 or $3 or something like that. It's like $2.99, $3.99, something like that.
Right.
But still 30 million. Dude, that's 100 million. Oh,
there might be 60 million if it's Tyson Fury, it could be 100 million, right?
Yeah, you're talking about potentially the biggest fight in boxing history, guys. I love it. Sign it up. I love it, guys. And we'll talk about some other time. We need to move on, guys. So let's move on to Fact or Fiction number 2.
Hey, we ain't ducking and dodging nobody. It's time for Fact or Fiction.
Floyd. Thank you, Floyd. And it says
every time you go to Floyd, I get silence. By the way, I don't know if everyone else gets it.
No. It's it'll show up. It's just my computer. It's slow.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it's late and cutting off my mic. But anyway, number 2, Fact or Fiction, Lee. Teddy Atlas is short bus special. Fact or Fiction?
Fact.
Oh my gosh, dude. Lee, have you seen the latest edition of Pro Box TV on YouTube featuring Teddy Atlas just crying about how terribly broken is, and Gary Jonas, the founder of Pro Box, just thrashing our beloved boxing. Lee, I'm gonna say this, okay? Now, once again, it was really frustrating. That smug, stupid-looking face of Gary Jonas. I wanted to reach through my computer and punch him in the face. He had that smug smirk on his face, and guys, look, I've seen this a lot. We most recently saw this with Pro Box, or no, not Pro Box. What was it? Rock Nation. Oh my gosh! And going to an event co-promoted by Rock Nation, they were walking around like they owned the place, and they just furnished the fighter. They didn't do anything for the organization of the event or the pay-per-view distribution, right? And once again, I've seen this so many times. Anyway, I'm going to read these quotes, right? Gary Jonas, founder of Pro Boxing, says, well, how do you fix boxing? You blow it up. And he goes, well, why is this a problem? And why is it a problem in boxing that the best aren't fighting the best? Because it's a problem that's only found in boxing. And once you understand that, well, the answer is quite obvious, actually. Go look at all the other major sports. They are either run and owned by one owner, so all the talent belongs to the owner, and then the owner has one purpose in life, and that's to make the customers happy. Or they consist of franchises owned by billionaires who are governed by a league commissioner who wants the same thing. to do what's best for the fans. Because if you leave them to their own devices, they'll kill each other and kill the sport. That's what's happened in boxing. So the only way you can fix boxing is to blow it up and start all over. End quote. Do you agree, Lee? Is that the biggest load of horseshit?
Yeah, I agree with that. Yes, about it being horseshit.
Okay, so why is it horseshit, Lee? What makes it horseshit? Because if you read the comments, the fans, once again, who really don't understand how this business is run, and once again, that's why we developed this channel, to help you guys understand how this works. Okay, why is it horseshit, brother? Why is everything that he said a crock of shit?
Gosh, I don't even know where to begin. First of all, boxing's always been like this. It's always been about not necessarily. The best fighting the best is good. That's gravy. But really, you need public demand and money.
That's it.
Okay,
that's it.
You need public demand. Well, money. Public demand creates the money. So it's really A and B are tied together, right? So it's great sitting around saying, I wish this guy could fight that guy. It's great for the hardcore fans, but there's no money behind it. Why, there's not an incentive to do it. Number one, I think number two is he's got a bunch of these guys that don't have promoters. And he's going to learn that, we fight these guys. We fight, this guy with the guy. It's a great fight. He's going to learn that a guy, you don't really match two guys that are like 12-0 together, right? You just don't do that. That's not cultivating a fighter. Okay.
No. And once again, let me interject.
Unless it's maybe for a major title or whatever, but two up-and-coming guys, why?
Yeah. Well, look, and that's what UFC does because they don't give a shit. They promote the brand, and UFC fans are so stupid that they will think that two idiots with no skill slugging it out on each other, they'll think that's a great fight, right? And so once again, boxing fans, they may be ignorant, most of them, not our Warwick Radio extended family, but at least they somewhat know what they're looking at, don't they? But I will say this, and this is what this guy doesn't get. He talks about and compares the sport of boxing and how it's run to other leagues. You cannot do that.
No.
Now, once again, he points to in that, everyone wants to see the Lakers and the Celtics fight. Boxing can do that. They can put the Lakers. You don't have to go through a playoff. You can put together the Lakers and Celtics anytime you want. What this idiot doesn't understand, how old are those franchises, the Lakers and the Celtics?
8 decades, many decades, and they have long history. It doesn't really matter who's wearing. Doesn't matter, regardless of the players, people are still Lakers and Celtics fans, even though the players change, every couple of years. So, and with boxing, you just have to kind of rebrand a fighter over again.
That's
you don't have that luxury.
That's it. Like, unlike the UFC, who exploits their talent, boxing doesn't. Boxing actually supports and promotes individual talent. Okay? And it takes time. Look how long it took Terrence Crawford to become a rock star. Right?
Yep.
How long has he been a pro?
A while. And he's been on top for a while. He just hasn't been a star.
That's it. And guys, that's how long it takes. And guess what? There is no perfect recipe to develop rock stars, to develop the biggest stars, because you guys determine that.
Right.
And if you want to keep a fighter at arm's length, just like you did Terrence Crawford for a decade, well, then, hey, that's just the way it is. There is no rhyme or reason, and I learned this the hard way when I was doing publicist work. There is no rhyme or reason why fans choose to gravitate towards one fighter and not another. There is no rhyme or reason. You just do or do not. That's it. And it's up to you, whether you realize this or not. You guys have always been the real bosses of boxing, and you always will be. And these assholes, they really don't understand how it's shocking hearing a guy, Teddy Atlas. He sounds like a disgruntled bitch is what he sounds like. Like a jilted housewife is what he sounds like. And it's irritating to see, right? And he sounds like he's short bus special. Guys, I urge everyone to go take a look at that dog shit. Okay? Go take a look at that dog shit, and it's shocking because that kind of talk, that kind of idiotic, ignorant banter is terrible for the health of the sport, right? Terrible. And keep in mind, guys, it's just like being married, right? And I'm going to use this analogy. If Lee, if you're married, yes, can you hear me?
Now I can. Okay.
It's just like being married and you're constantly bad mouthing your wife to your friends, right? Is any of your friends gonna want to spend time with you guys together?
No, of course not.
No, guys. So once again, you have to understand, bad mouthing our beloved boxing is not without consequence. Why should any of these mainstream and casual fans view boxing if the guys who love it are constantly shitting on it?
Right. And let me give a quick example of the fans that I gave you too. Is like in the NFL, okay, you don't see commentators bad mouthing, oh, that call sucked, right? Like several times already, I've seen NFL instant replay reviews. And, they'll interview that one guy who's like who's that guy that's always in New York? I forgot his name. But anyway, he'll say, you know what? I didn't see that clearly, but I wasn't there on the field. He doesn't say, oh, that's the wrong call. Or what are these guys looking at? Or these guys need glasses. He's like, it looks a little different to me, but I wasn't there. Maybe if I was on the field, I'd say what the refs are saying. And you leave it like that. You don't say that, oh, it's corrupt, it's a bad call, the refs are paid, all this Teddy Atlas nonsense. So that's how you handle those situations.
Yeah, look, and everyone says, oh, you look at football, man, they go through a grueling season, and then they go to the playoffs, and then, they go into Super Bowl. Boxing doesn't have that. Yes, we do. And another huge myth is, right, when people criticize, oh, it's all the sides across the street. Well, last time I checked, NFC from the NFL was played on one station, right? The AFC games are usually carried by CBS, right? With the exception of Monday Night Football and NBC, Sunday night game, right? But you look at every team, and there is interleague play, but it's only 4 games out of 17. Predominantly, you stay in your conference, and then you focus on your division. That sounds familiar, right? Guys,
Yep.
once again, without your demand, there is no fight. Anyone can take 2 names and say, oh, I wish they could fight. Oh, this is the problem with boxing. Well, where's the demand? Is everyone demanding this fight?
Right.
Because hold on, Lee. So, guys, when I was working with Don Chargan, he said, look, all of this bullshit about promoters, hey, this is nothing new. We've always had rival promoters since the 40s and the 50s. And look, whenever you had the fans, the real bosses of boxing, demanding a matchup, the fights always got made. The promoters always buried the hatchet. Hold on, I'm going to have to mute you. That's too loud, Lee. The fights were always made whenever the real bosses of boxing demanded fights throughout history. Okay, whenever they created that demand, even the rival promoters have always hated each other. They would always bury the hatchet and do what's best for the sport and make the fight a reality. Okay, we just saw that with Terrence Crawford this year. Terrence Crawford put forth a great performance against Errol Spence, and everyone says, oh, he's a free agent. In my opinion, that almost destroyed the matchup because he was being unreasonable and didn't have experienced representation. The fight happened in spite of that. And once again, we saw Gervonta Davis, Ryan Garcia, biggest fight of the year in terms of, not in terms of critical success, but in commercial success. Yeah, biggest fight of the year. I'm sorry. Is there do you have your windows rolled down or something, Lee? That is loud, brother.
No, surprise. I don't have anything. Can you hear me?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can hear you now. It's just a lot of noise when it sounds like your windows are rolled down or something. You're driving in your car. No. Anyway, I'm sorry. So, guys, this is a lot of ignorance and nonsense. And once again, when you see someone come into the sport league, and we've seen this a lot, with Rock Nation, America Presents. You remember them?
Yeah.
What was that? When even when Al Heyman, PBC, he's the last guy to try and really blow up and start all over with the sport, right? And he tried to make the boxing equivalent of UFC with PBC, only he wasn't going to exploit the fighters, and that was his undoing. That and lack of sponsorship. Guys, these rules and these guidelines. So you mean to tell me this guy, right? What's his name? Gary Jonas. This is a guy who's just coming into boxing and he has everything figured out. So you mean Bob Arum, genius level IQ. Al Heyman, genius level IQ. Don King, genius in street smarts. Don Chargan. All of these great men could not figure out how to fix boxing. And this guy knows? Lee, are you there, sir?
Yeah, I'm just listening. Yeah, I mean, boxing's never been perfect. What's that quote from Larry Merchant you said yesterday?
Yeah, Larry Merchant, well, he famously said, well, you can't fix boxing, or you can't save boxing, but you can't kill it either.
Right. And I remember Jim Lampley once said, this was like right around the Mayweather versus De La Hoya fight. He's like,
yeah,
boxing, people say boxing is dying. UFC fans say boxing is dying. Boxing's been dying for 100 years, right?
Yep, that's it, brother. That's it. And look, man. I just can't stand this kind of talk. But right now, let's talk about this. And this is I think it's going to be our last factor because we're running out of time, guys. And we only have Lee on here for a short while. So here it is, number 3, Lee. Paramount Plus will indeed move forward with a boxing pay-per-view every month, just like a UFC starting in 2024. Fact or fiction?
I think so. Fact.
Yeah.
But, yeah. I mean, I'm not wholeheartedly, but yeah, I think we're going to get into the pay-per-view. I think that's going to be like the new model. It'll be seen on a pay-per-view basis. But as I said the other day, I think it'll be cheaper. I mean, we're not going to be paying $49.99 or $89.99. Who knows what'll happen? But I think we'll see a lot of fights, a lot of cards. It may sell for like $9.99, $14.99. We'll see. But yeah, I mean, boxing's going to find some other platform. And I mean, it's like you said, you can't kill it, and it's been dying for 100 years. So yeah, boxing's going to thrive somewhere. I mean, making too much money. The sport makes too much money to die.
Yeah, you know what? It was actually the success of these pay-per-views that killed Showtime Championship Boxing, really. Because you had, and once again, this is made a decision from the brass at Paramount Plus as well as CBS, right? And this is, I've been telling you guys that this would happen, 2 years ago, as early as 2 years ago, right? And so the way this goes is it's almost like the success of the pay-per-views really killed Showtime Championship Boxing, because you look at the financial and critical success of this year on Showtime, the pay-per-views, with the exception of Benavidez versus Plant, right? You look at the success of those pay-per-views, and then you look at the numbers on regular subscriber Showtime for Showtime Championship Boxing. Brother, they are abysmal. And so the brass at CBS and Paramount Plus are like, well, why don't you just roll with pay-per-view? Why do we even want to spend any time on something that's not going to yield subscriber numbers or ratings? We can't justify spending any money on that any longer. So we're just going to roll with a pay-per-view every single month. And what you're going to see, guys, you're going to see more Don King type pay-per-views. Do you remember when he didn't have a huge lineup? Do you remember I used to stack those pay-per-views?
Oh, yeah. What you mean with like Tyson and Chavez and Terry Norris and all those guys?
Yep.
Joe McClellan and Julian Jackson.
So you're going to see more cards like that if they don't have a blockbuster matchup for 1 month. You're just going to see 4 or 5 of their stars or maybe even 6 or 7, and just have them have their just, what did Jim Lempley used to call it? Perfunctory opponents.
Yeah.
So that's what you're going to see, guys. But yes, this is indeed true. This is indeed going to happen. And we'll see what happens. We'll see what the future holds for it. But let's get to this one. I'm really curious to hear what you think about this one. Fact or fiction? Tank Davis will indeed face Keith Once Upon a Time Thurman in 2024. How do you like that, Lee?
That's I like it. I love it. I think it's more likely than not. More fact than fiction.
Yep, that's the rumor right now, brother.
Yep. And I think he's attractive because he looked amazing. I don't know if anyone saw Thurman's last fight. He looked absolutely incredible after
against Mario Barrios.
A 2-year layoff, 2 or 3 year layoff. He looked great. However, he's had one fight in the last 3 years? 4 one fight since the Pacquiao loss in 2019.
That's terrible.
I think Gervonta Davis is looking at that. Team Davis is looking at that. They're like, he's a bigger guy, but they're licking their chops because this young guy he's a top pound for pound guy. He's in his prime. They're like, yeah, Keith Thurman's good, but this is a guy that's fought once in the last 4 years. We can beat him.
Well, I tell you what, it's a much bigger pay-per-view. Say what you want about Keith One-Time Thurman, but it's a much bigger pay-per-view than Pitbull Cruz. That's for sure. Now, last fact or fiction. We only have about 10 minutes left with you, brother. Here we go. We saved the big one for last. Fact or fiction, Lee? Canelo will get appointed by Jermell Charlo on September 30th and subsequently announce his retirement. Fact or fiction?
I think fiction. I still say fiction. Canelo was such an A-side fighter. You're going to have to do a lot. Again, let's go back to the Bivol fight, everybody. Everyone thought Bivol cleaned his clock or won decisively. Those scores were 115-113. Canelo was going to get every benefit of the doubt. I mean, because, again, the same way that Sugar Ray Leonard did. Marciano had a few fights like that. Joe Louis had a fight like that, where you get the benefit of the doubt. It's controversial. He's going to get every benefit of the doubt. So Charlo has really got to put some hurt on him. I mean, to win. I mean, because again, this could be Canelo Lara all over again, where maybe some people think he outpointed him, but the judges will say otherwise. Regardless, win or lose, Canelo makes too much money to retire. Now, some people might say he's already made a ton of money, but even if he does lose, the retirement fight's going to be even bigger money, okay, because he lost. So there's no way that he retires after this fight, because he'll come back for the rematch. A rematch is definitely going to be bigger, win or lose.
Oh, let me ask you something, though, Lee. Have you heard the rumors, brother, about how Canelo's been looking in sparring?
Through the grapevine, yes. I've talked to people who've talked to people who've talked to people who've talked to sparring partners who said that Canelo looks like, quote unquote, 168 pounds of shit or something to that effect. something to that effect.
Wow.
So I mean, again, these are leaked from apparently leaked from Canelo's training. I still, it's hard for me to put a lot of emphasis into that. We'll see on fight night. Canelo's been talking a good game. He certainly fought everybody, to this point. We've never seen him look bad. I mean, even the Bivol. I mean, we've never seen him really look like shit. I mean, I think he got outpointed in the Bivol fight, but he didn't look bad, right? In my mind, I just don't think Canelo is capable of I don't think he's capable of laying an egg and just looking like shit, right? But I could be wrong. But I think there's just some fighters out there at this point in time. I don't think there's anyone that can really embarrass him. I mean, minus an early knockout, but I don't think he's capable of getting embarrassed. No.
Well, we'll see what happens, guys. And once again, it's next week, a week from tonight. How do you like that, Lee? Are you excited?
I can't wait for it. I'm looking forward to this fight. I really am. I'm surprised I'm a little surprised he took this fight. But I can't wait for it, man.
Well, I tell you what, let's just recap, brothers, since we're about 8 minutes left in the show. let's recap. What are your thoughts? Once again, guys, congratulations to Zhilei Zhang, the Big Bang. Well, becoming one of the hottest fighters in boxing with that third round right hook. And down he went like a sack of potatoes. Juggernaut. Ooh. Well, can we just say, Joyce, you're not. I tell you what, Lee, your thoughts. And, well, where does your thoughts on Zhilei Zhang and that performance? And where does he go from here, sir?
He now this catapulted him. He is right up there now with Fury, Usyk, Joshua Wilder, and I guess Hrgovic. He is right in that mix. He's right in the middle, right in there with those guys. So I if I were him, I would look for a title shot right away with Tyson Fury. And again, like I said, he's got that Chinese thing going for him. It's new blood. It's a whole new demographic, a sizable one. You know, you play that. I think he's got a lot going on. I'd like to see him fight Fury. If not Fury, fight
Oh,
Wilder.
oh yes.
Or
you know what? You know what? Though, let me ask you something. Does Usyk Tyson Fury still happen after that performance, Lee?
Maybe not right away. I don't think. I think that Team Fury is now they're looking at this. His father and Tyson and a couple of the guys, they're sitting down there like, hey, this Chinese dude, this is going to be a bigger fight. I mean, maybe not so much among boxing fans, but worldwide, because all those pay-per-views from China, we can get more money. I can make 50 or 60 million fighting this guy. I can't make that with Usyk.
That's it.
You know. Secondly, too, is like I know Hrgovic is in there because he beat Zhang. But this is more impressive than any fight Hrgovic has had, right?
Yep, that's it.
So it's like, well, where do you rank him with Hrgovic? You know, I mean, he's up there too. So we've got a hot division, a hot heavyweight division, man.
Yep, I tell you what. And going back to the Canelo thing, right? And hey, how you doing, Burro? It's good to see you, my friend. Thank you. I hope you're having a wonderful weekend this far, and I hope you enjoyed the fights. I will say this. Guys, the sport of boxing is much healthier when we have all of our big ticket sellers and attractions staying active. And let me tell you guys, a sport without Canelo at this time. How does it look, Lee, in America, in the American markets without Canelo?
Yeah, that's dismal because like there's no one else. I mean, you know, you used to have like even Floyd and Manny. I mean, Manny, you could sort of fall back on him even though he's not American. But yeah, I mean, right now you really want to keep. I mean, Canelo is still, like him or not, he's still good for the sport. He's still
great for the sport.
One of the top 5 athletes probably.
That's it
in the world. So you definitely want to keep that.
He's a mainstream franchise, guys. He is a boxing franchise, right? Guys, I hope you guys understand that. Canelo in the sport is a very healthy version of boxing. Okay, and that's going to just about do it. Lee, would you like to offer any parting shots and promote the mothership, FightSaga.com?
So yeah, we're getting our whole redesign. So not much is going to happen in the next 2 weeks, but I'll be on your show more, and then when things are finished, we can start promoting it a little bit bigger then. After this whole redesign phase. So hey, and that's it. I really appreciated being on here. I hope next time though, I want to talk about the piracy in boxing and how that's impacting the business of boxing.
Well, you know what we should have talked about and how that impacted the Showtime, Paramount Plus, CBS decision. Right. But guys, we're going to meet you later it would be next week. We'll talk to you before the Canelo fight, okay? But guys, I'm just on behalf of the incomparable Lee Cleveland. I'm Joseph Heron. You're listening to today, the first episode of Fight Saga Radio.
Fight Saga Radio with editor Lee Cleveland.